welcome back to the Spicy Sports Show with Sam Cerrone and Tom Crane, coming to you live from Portland, Oregon and Lancaster, Pennsylvania. We got a lot going on in the world of sports. Just to let you know right now, the USA just tied Honduras 1-1 in the 84th minute. Bobby Wood coming up huge with a game-tying goal, potentially saving the USA from falling out of World Cup qualification right now. If the standings were to end as it is right now, both the U.S. and Honduras would finish with 9 points. As it stands right now, with some pending matches tonight in the CONCACAF region, you do have Panama taking on Trinidad and Tobago. Panama sitting on 7 points, 2 points behind the U.S. and Honduras as the standings are live right now if this game were to go final. And the top two teams in CONCACAF, Costa Rica and Mexico, play each other. Mexico wins, they will clinch the number one CONCACAF team heading into the World Cup. We got a lot to talk about in the world of sports. It's been crazy. I know we did a podcast on Saturday morning before college football started, so we have so much there to talk about, from Alabama, Florida State, to the upset that was my Terps getting the best of the Texas Longhorns, and what about that? Some other matches were pretty good as well. UCLA's comeback, what a ridiculous comeback. 38-10 down at half, and Chosen Rosen, 4 touchdowns, 400-plus yards in the fourth quarter alone. We'll speak to that. And, of course, Week 1 of the NFL is back, 2 days away. The New England Patriots taking on the Kansas City Chiefs. Talk about a good spicy 2017 starter. So let's go ahead and get started, but without further ado, Tommy, say hello to the pretty people once again.
Hello, pretty people!
Yes, that is how we feel. Now, we're in pretty good. We're in pretty high spirits just because, hey, the USA tied 1-1, and it's in the 89th minute coming up right now. So it's almost to that full 90 minutes, and then we'll see how much stoppage time is. Again, it is in Honduras, so it's been a pretty intense match all around. Honduras scored early in the second half to take a 1-0 lead, but again, as I mentioned at the top of the show, Bobby Wood coming up huge. This lineup is definitely a lot different for the U.S., with Brad Guzan in goal, Graham Zusi starting, Clint Dempsey making his 41st appearance in World Cup qualifying, which is the most by an American, breaking the tie with Landon Donovan. So with those changes, and of course an offensive-minded attack, it just seems that it should be set up for a nice couple minutes here. So again, with any scores, we'll keep you live and updated to the moment with what we have here. So Week 1 of the NFL season, it's back. We've done the fantasy, and actually Tommy and I are in the league together, so that's fun. I just did 2 more leagues in the last week, 2 money leagues, so it should be interesting. Hopefully I get some money back and get that. And they just added 3 minutes of stoppage time here, so just keeping you live here. They just added 3 minutes of stoppage time to this USA-Honduras game. But back to the NFL. Week 1 of the NFL season. It's always... Finally, we're in that fall season. We've already had college football kick off for 2 weekends in a row. This first full weekend of games, including all top 25 teams in action. Now we get to the good stuff, the NFL. As I mentioned previously, Chiefs, Patriots kick off here. A lot of storylines heading into the season. Number 1, Ezekiel Elliott. I think that's the biggest one. We're going to find out the decision in about any minute, at any minute now, whether or not Ezekiel Elliott's 6-game suspension will be upheld. The hearing is held live in Texas, so it should be going on right now. The decision will come down in the next couple minutes, so as soon as we hear anything, we'll also keep you up to date on that as well. And again, this NFL season, you have a lot of stories. Can the Patriots repeat? How good will the Raiders will be? We got a lot of teams in the NFC that could be potentially really good. You have the Seahawks, you have the Falcons, you have your Packers, Tommy, and the Giants are 4 of the teams that really have an opportunity to take the NFC crown this year and meet the Patriots in the Super Bowl. Because let's be honest here, even with the Raiders' success and the Steelers as a whole, the Patriots are the team to beat, and it's no question about it in terms of what they're capable of doing. When you have Tom Brady, even though he's turning 40 this year, the weapons that he has might be the best he ever had. Granted, Julian Edelman gone for the season with the knee injury, but he does have Brandon Cooks in that trade that they made with the Patriots made with the Saints in this offseason for a first-round pick. He's worth that much money, worth that pick. in terms of what his production was in New Orleans. So imagine being in a Patriots offense where he's a much better version of Julian Edelman. So we got a lot of picks here. Let's do it straight to the pick 'em because that's what we're here to do. We're always pretty good at it, so let's get this going. First game of the season, Tommy. New England Patriots take on the Kansas City Chiefs. The line right now, as it shows, is a 9-point favorite for New England. For me, it might be a little high just because I think the Chiefs have a lot to offer defensively. And Alex Smith, we know he's a game manager. That's been his title since he's come into the league. But I think his versatility to move around in the pocket is very underrated. And I think that that's going to be a huge component, especially with this new upgraded Patriots defense. So that's going to be the key there. Tommy, I'm still picking the Patriots to win this game, but I'm going to pick it by 7 points. I think it's going to be a really close game. 1st to 20 wins this matchup for me. What do you say?
I'm going to go with the Patriots as well. I'm still going to give it the spread. I still think that it is going to be 8 points just because they're coming off another Super Bowl victory. They still got that high. They still have Tom Brady, Bill Belichick. They've got still a good wide receiver core, even though Edelman, let's just go with his last name. Edelman went out with a torn ACL. They did acquire Braden Cooks, so he should be a valuable asset now, along with Amendola and Rob Gronkowski still at tight end. So I still think the Patriots will have a big victory against the Kansas City Chiefs this Thursday.
Yep, absolutely. Now let's head into Sunday's action. First off, the Jets and the Bills. Let's be honest, this is not a good matchup for either team. The Bills coming off a really poor offseason in terms of a lot of players leaving and a lot of players being either released or traded. So really, it's the Shady McCoy show, and everybody else is watching it. Tyrod Taylor still in concussion protocol, so we have no idea if he's going to be playing. If not, it's going to be the rookie Nathan Peterman out of Pittsburgh, the 4th-round pick, is going to be making his debut for the Bills. And what seems it looks like he's been playing pretty well in the preseason. So it's not that we're going to hang our heads on low and just hope for the best. He's a pretty good quarterback, and they're taking on the Jets team, who, let's be honest here, their quarterback situation is a lot worse than ours, which is saying something. And then, of course, again, what are you going to do? I mean, you have these quarterback situations that are just horrific, and wide receiver at best. They just signed Jeremy Curley to a 1-year deal, who, again, played for the 49ers last season, former Jet, so he knows the Jets culture for the most part. So for me, I don't pick this game as a Bills fan. So Tommy, who are you going to pick in this one?
Buffalo Bills 100%. I already took a look at the Las Vegas odds, and right now the Jets are 1,000 to 1 odds to make it to the Super Bowl and actually win it. The Browns have a better chance at 100 to 1 odds. This being said, the Jets have no quarterback, no wide receiver, no defense. I see them going 0-16 throughout this whole season. So I think the Buffalo Bills should have a good chance against the New York Jets in this Sunday game. So if there is any doubt in my mind, I think it's gone, because the Buffalo Bills, even though they let go of Sammy Watkins, traded him, I still think they have an excellent shot of winning by at least 2 touchdowns.
There we go. So we just went final here. 1-1, the final between Honduras and the United States. So both United States and Honduras claim a point. They both move up to 9 points overall. Again, there are 2 games left playing tonight. You do have Panama and Trinidad and Tobago, Mexico, and Costa Rica. We'll talk about those and the point implications later on, just to give you an update on that score. Moving back to the NFL, the Falcons and the Bears. Falcons, again, disastrous Super Bowl appearance. They come back. They still look pretty good as one of the teams, if not the favorite, in my opinion, to come out of the NFC once again. They are a 7-point road favorite against the Bears. The Bears, again, drafted Mitch Trubisky at the number 2 overall pick, but they have tabbed Mike Glennon as the starter in Chicago. Will Chicago start off with a win this season, or will the Falcons come back and redeem themselves where they left off?
Falcons are going to come back and redeem themselves. I'm a Green Bay Packers fan, and I don't think the Bears are going to be winning at all this season, especially because of the wide receiver, Alshon Jeffrey, being gone, traded to the Eagles. The Chicago Bears not having a quarterback because Jay Cutler was just awful, and Mike Glennon he was a decent quarterback, backup quarterback. I don't think he can fill the shoes as a starting quarterback. I think that it's just a time waiting until the first-round pick for the Bears actually comes to fruition. Mr. Trubisky, if I'm going with his last name correctly.
Trubisky.
I think that he is going to be the star-studded quarterback that Chicago Bears need for right now. But in this situation and this week, Bears are going to lose to the Falcons.
It's crazy that this game you can buy, by the way, for $22 for a ticket on StubHub, one of the cheaper ticket games by far, the Ravens and the Bengals, two teams who, again, they're always battling it out in the NFC, in the AFC North, and again, the Bengals are a 3-point, the Bengals are a 3-point favorite here in this game. Both offenses are going to be pretty good. It's just a matter of the defenses that I think it's going to be in question. The X factor for the Bengals, running back Joe Mixon, the running back from Oklahoma, who came out with a lot of red flags, including punching a woman at a bar. We all saw the video. And again, it's going to be a matter of can he make up his production on the field to avoid the distractions that have been caused so far this offseason since he's been drafted. For me, I'm going to pick the Ravens in a close game. I know it's not the best pick, but I just think that the Ravens have a lot of experience, and they have just a more sound locker room when it comes to this kind of noise, especially on the road in division to start off the season. What say you, Tommy?
For me, it just depends on who's the home team. Is it the Bengals or the Ravens?
It is the Bengals.
Well, I'm going to have to give it to the Bengals then. I know it's a close matchup. Joe Flacco is the superstar quarterback, but so is Andy Dalton. We got A.J. Green on one side, and unfortunately, Torrey Smith is now no longer a Raven. He is now an Eagle as well, and Marlena is dancing to that. Flacco is somewhat like Rodgers. He can make any wide receiver great at some point, but Flacco is inconsistent when it comes to that. Andy Dalton, same thing. He can make any wide receiver great, but unfortunately he's inconsistent as well. Thankfully, he does have star-studded wide receiver, A.J. Green, and that's why I think the Bengals will win this week.
Steelers and Browns, it's pretty obvious the Browns aren't necessarily the best team in the world, but they did tag Deshaun Kaiser, the second-round pick out of Notre Dame, as their starting quarterback. So it goes to show you that there is some potential there in Cleveland. Again, they have better odds than the Bills and the Jets, not saying much, but they do have better odds to win the Super Bowl than they do of those two teams. So that's saying something, at least they're improving. They have the number 1 overall pick. They drafted Myles Garrett out of Texas A&M. Can he be that defensive force to get around that offensive line that Pittsburgh has had for years and to get to Big Ben Roethlisberger? Right now, as it stands, the Pittsburgh Steelers are an 8.5-point favorite on the road in Cleveland. I think it's going to be closer than that. I think the Browns do keep it a little bit tighter. And, of course, one thing to note, Joe Hayden did get cut by the Browns and then signed by the Steelers not even 24 hours later. So it's going to make it for an interesting homecoming over the weekend. So, for me, I'm going with the Steelers again, but it's going to be closer than 8.5 as it says. Tommy, what say you?
I'm going with the Steelers as well, just because of the triple threat: Ben Roethlisberger, Antonio Brown, Le'Veon Bell. Even though Le'Veon Bell has been out and just finally signed his franchise tender and has now started practicing, he's actually been given rest. And this is one thing for me where I don't think NFL teams need 4 preseason games, because if you have not seen in the past 4 games, it has been torn ACL after torn ACL with MCLs, leg injuries, and all of that, even before it gets to the regular season games. The Browns, Myles Garrett, as you said, very good defensive end. He will be up against one person from Maya High School who's going to be on the O-line protecting